Peace. This is about what are elites and why does everyone seem to despise them. Of course, this is an old article from 2016, but um, to get a better understanding what the elites are, for example, the politicians are not who you think they are. They're all part of the higher ups. Today, Wall Street Journal columnist Peggy Noonan wrote a piece titled How Global Elites Forsake Their Countrymen. Her argument that elites in countries all over the West are utterly disconnected from the people who bear the burden of their policies, the top detaching itself from the bottom, feeling little loyalty to it or affiliation with it. From what I've seen of those in power throughout business and politics, now the people of your country are not your countrymen. They're aliens whose bizarre emotions you must attempt occasionally to anticipate and manage. Yeah, so the politics are not who you think they are. They're aliens. That's who they are. They're not our countrymen. They don't care about us at all. They're all higher ups. They're aliens from who knows where. And for what and also in here it says now, the people of your country are not your countrymen. They're aliens whose bizarre emotions. So that's why when you watch the news or whatever, they're not who you think they are. It's just the truth. Noonan doesn't just criticize elites. Policy separations such as Angela Merkel's failure to understand why her own population doesn't want mass Muslim migration from the Middle East. She criticizes lifestyle. In Manhattan, my little island off the continent, I see the children of the global business elite marry each other and settle in London or New York or Mumbai. Affluence detaches power as distance to experiences. So they've been separated from themselves. They separated themselves from the people who are the truth. This one person is off of in Manhattan. It's his little island, I guess. He sees the children of the global business elite marry each other, which I don't know. I'm kind of against it, but more likely against it. Doesn't Also, he said it doesn't just criticize elites' policy separations, such as Angela Merkel's failure to understand why her own population doesn't want mass Muslim migration from the Middle East. So why do you think Donald Trump and all these other politicians are not who you think they are? They're all aliens. The real ones, I don't know where they are. Either dead somewhere or what. I don't know. Noonan concludes our elites have abandoned or are abandoning the idea that they belong to a country, that they have ties that bring responsibilities, that they should feel loyalty to their people, or at the very least, grounded respect. Yeah, so the elites, they're trying to fit in with the people, but they're not welcome at all because they are evil. They do evil things. That they have ties that bring responsibilities, of course. And of course, they don't care about the voters. The voters who vote for the politicians are also part of the elite too. So you might as well get it all out. And of course, this person also has said our elites have abandoned or are abandoning the idea that they belong to a country, which they don't, because they're all aliens, which I find that kind of hard to believe anyways, because I had never seen an alien in my life. Noonan isn't alone in expressing these sentiments. Last week I received a series of text messages from two friends stumping on behalf of Donald Trump. One wrote, "There is a high tide coming in of disenfranchised Americans who toil and pray and go fight in the military. That has been," I can't say that word, but you get the idea, on and ignored. The other replied, "The elites are in their ivory towers. When is the last time any of those eggheads who sign letters hating Trump ever held a real job?" Yeah, so when was the last time anybody ever signed anything, signed letters hating Trump, or ever held a real job? Well, let's see. Donald Trump is not who you think he is. So he was on that celebrity reality show. You're Fired or whatever it was. I never watched it, so that's not my cup of tea to watch. It never was. Also, there is a high tide coming of disenfranchised Americans who toil and pray and go fight in the military. That has been that on and ignored. Of course, everything is getting ignored. These politicians are getting hand-picked one by one of who's going to be in office, who's going to be in the White House, who's going to be at the other places where they are going to be. The combined net wealth of these two anti-elites, more than $75 million, both inherited their wealth. And so they both inherited their wealth. Of course, Donald Trump came from a rich family and of course, this is why he's acting the way he is now, because, with all these rituals, with letters, numbers, yeah, I think so. This seems to be a growing phenomenon, economic and educational elites paying homage to the working man, the blue-collar guy, the Rust Belt voter, trod under elite, stiletto heels. This is a form of virtue signaling all its own. Yes, we're wealthy. Yes, we're well educated, but we can't apologize for all of that by paying homage to Trumpism and acting as though we understand the commoners, whatever. It's paternalism on the highest order, masquerading as man of the people chic. Yes, so it's been a growing phenomenon, economic and occasional elites paying homage to the working man. There are the blue-collar guys, there's the Rust Belt voters, trod under elite stiletto heels. So all you voters, you're considered as the Rust Belt voter. That's what it is. They just don't care what people have to say. They just ignore everything and do what they want. And this is why the foreign banks overseas want their $22 trillion that these politicians have been borrowing off of them. It's also intellectually incoherent. Before ripping into the elites, we should at least come up with a common definition. The current definition seems to be people with whom I disagree. Ardent members of the Trump train union just say cook, and in a way that's more honest. It's just a slur. Elites has become a slur in the hands of people like Laura Ingraham, multimillionaire and Dartmouth graduate who clerked for Justice Clarence Thompson. But it masquerades as more than that. It isn't, at least as currently stated. So you got a Trump train union that are saying, just say cook. excuse me. And it's just a lot of things going on with these elites. They're doing this, all wrong and everything else. They want to have all the money in the world so they could bring all these foreigners over here into our country so they could destroy our country. Here's what elites should mean in a political context. People who think they can control your life better than you do. End of story. It's not elitist to say that as a consumer, I should have the ability to buy any product I want. To say that as an employer, I should have the right to hire anybody I want. Free trade isn't elitist. Bernie Sanders, in this definition, is an elite. Donald Trump's trade policy, a policy by which he sits on a mountaintop and designs to determine which jobs are most important and who would pay more for which product, is actually elitist. And so Donald Trump is sitting on top of a mountain, on a mountaintop, and designs to determine which jobs are more important. Well, right now he wants to do the wall thing. He wants all the migrants to stay out of America because he feels as though they don't belong here. Well, and the only way he wants to keep them out is by having a wall put up on them instead of having all these troops that are still overseas to come over here and protect our borders. But instead, Donald Trump just keeps sending troops overseas to fight everybody else. But that's not how people use elitists. Now it just means blue-collar people like this one thing. But you don't, so you're an elitist. This sort of class warfare used to be foreign to conservatives. Aside from perhaps Harry Truman, America has never had a president who was not a member of the economic or intellectual elite. That doesn't make every president an elite. Woodrow Wilson was an elitist, and he was far poorer than George Washington, who was an extraordinary wealthy man. So George Washington was an extraordinary wealthy man, of course. But there are people who are not elitists at all, and then there's more of the elites that do evil things than the ones who don't do evil things. And of course they call them blue collar people, like this one thing. And all these elites, they have to go. They're aliens. They don't belong here. Let's cut out the class warfare and stick to ideas, or at the very least, let's ask what people mean when they say elites, other than just using the term as heretical club to beat opponents. Yeah, so we must ask that question. What do they say about elites, other than just using the term of heretical club to beat opponents? So you must ask yourself about that question. Who are they and why are they so out of control these days? They're doing this, doing that, and everything else. Leave your comments below. I am out.